Welcome to this course that's really aimed at helping you and your team understand the Fresh Start experience. At the Fresh Start Network, we are deeply passionate about seeing life-giving churches replanted that make a difference locally, regionally, and globally for generations to come. Do we need new churches that are planted? Absolutely. But we also need existing churches that are replanted. And there are a variety of reasons why churches feel stuck and feel stagnant. And in fact, we've had conversations with people all over the place, whether they're in urban settings or rural settings or suburban settings. And they've said things like this when they thought about their church, that the best days of our church are somehow or another behind us, that we need to give up and give in, that the story is over. We don't need to keep moving forward. And perhaps that's where you're at. And too often we put this period in our story, and God has a habit of putting a comma because God is the God who specializes in resurrection. And I want you to hear this today. I really do believe that your church could actually be a part of going through a fresh start experience, that new and fresh life change could happen in your community. And for that to happen, I don't want you to miss this. This is so important and so vital when it comes to a fresh start. A fresh start never happens by accident. It takes prayer and planning and intentionality. And this is the reason why that we put together, designed and developed these 12 strategic markers along the way. Now, let me introduce you to the first marker. And the first marker we call holy desperation or holy urgency as a team. It's something that the Spirit of God is doing in you, and you're responding to it. And you're starting to believe that there could be better days, a brighter future ahead. And let me just ask you, even as we are talking about this, do you and your team have a sense of holy desperation, a sense of holy urgency? Do you sense God is leading you to confront the truth that maybe it's time for something new and something fresh? And you know when holy desperation is happening because we're humbling ourselves, we're releasing control, and we're desperately seeking God for a new future, not just a restoration of the past. Now, why do churches get stuck and why do they get stagnant? Why do they feel like they want to quit? And perhaps you're there. It's because at times we have a lack of vision. We can't see what's ahead of us. There are times where we really just lack effectiveness. If our church was gone from the very community that it's in right now, would it make any difference at all? And some of us have been there. Some of us, it's an aging facility that at one time that facility was such a blessing, but now it's a burden. Sometimes it's an aging congregation. The reality is we're not reaching the next generation. We're not reaching our full potential. Sometimes it's a crisis, something you didn't see happening that comes your way. And sometimes the Holy Spirit is just doing something new and something fresh. And you know it's time to enter into a new season. Now, what is holy desperation characterized by? Because oftentimes we meet with people, pastors and leadership teams, and they're just desperate. They're just urgent. There's not a sense of holy urgency or holy desperation. And here's what it's characterized by. You know that you're in a season of holy desperation when there is humility, when there is faith, when there is prayer, when there is this sense of letting go and a willingness to pursue help. And part of your job as a leader, part of your job as a team is to lead a church into a season that cultivates a holy sense of urgency for a new future. And that's going to require patience. That's going to require the Spirit of God at work. It's going to require leadership. And my favorite definition of leadership comes from a book called Leadership on the Line. And it's simply this, that leadership is introducing change at a rate people can stomach. You know, when you think about it, you can do a lot of things in a hurry. You can go through a drive-through in a hurry and get fast food and eat it in your car just as God intended. You can hurry to a meeting or hurry to someone's house, but one thing you cannot do in a hurry, so please hear me. You cannot rush, you cannot in a hurry lead people and cultivate a sense of holy urgency. And so there are some things you can do, and that's what I want to leave you with. What you can do to make the most of this season as a team is to pray first. When God gets ready to do a great work, He calls His people to pray. You can get with a coach, and we look forward to helping you in that way to understand the life cycle of your church, because you'll never take action without awareness. You can dream together about a new future and a legacy, and we encourage you to do so in a different setting and different place. You can identify who are the main influencers. When you're sitting in a conversation with a few people, when they talk, everyone listens. Eyes are moving toward them. You can identify who are the main blockers. When they talk, it's like the air just sucks out of the room. You can discover a partner's church, and in a few sessions, we'll talk about that and the gift that that really is. And you can cast vision for the future. You can do those things. And I believe that churches, they become stagnant. And do we need new churches planted? Absolutely. But we also need existing churches replanted, life-giving churches that make a difference locally, regionally, and globally for generations to come.